Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
It's good, and I am so blessed. And say morning by morning, new mercies I see. And I had just published my second book. And I was hoping my sister would be here by now because I ordered a set of books and they haven't come yet. And she ordered books in Maryland and hers came. And so I asked her to bring it so I could hold it up and see it. But I thank God that He's allowed me to do it. And I really prayed because it seemed like I came to a roadblock and I just couldn't pass it. And I just said, Lord, I want it to be finished by the summer. I want to have it finished by the summer. And so He answered my prayer. And so I got it finished. And so I'm just grateful to God for what He's done. And the book is entitled When God Changes Your Plans. And it's a book and a workbook. And it's lessons that I've learned from David. And so I've still been excited about it. So I'm going to share some things even this morning that I've learned from David and Solomon. And as was in your hearing, if you could turn to 1 Chronicles chapter 28. And I'm going to be walking around a little bit, it's hard for me to stay in one place, but I'm going to start off in 1 Chronicles, and we're going to read verses 8 and 9. Chapter 28, verses 8 and 9. And this is from the New Living Translation. And it said, "So now, with God as our witness, and in the sight of all Israel, the Lord's assembly, I give you this charge. Be careful to obey all the commands of the Lord your God, so that you may continue to possess this good land and leave it to your children as a permanent inheritance." In verse 9, "And Solomon, my son, learn to know the God of your ancestors intimately. Worship and serve Him with your whole heart and a willing mind. For the Lord sees every heart and knows every plan and thought. If you seek Him, you will find Him. But if you forsake Him, He will reject you forever." And the title of my sermon today is "Be Careful." And we're starting with David giving Solomon a charge. And sometimes we don't have people giving us a charge or telling us this is something that we need to do and you're being challenged to do it. And sometimes we need that to get us moving. Yeah. And so here it is, David, and I love so much that David always repeats, "I wanted to build this temple." And so the basis even of the book is, but God told him no. And He changed the plan that David had. But David always acknowledged, "I wanted to build this temple. But the Lord told me, no, you are a man of war and the blood on your hands. But what I want you to do is to prepare for it and you can make ready for it." And then our pastor's been working with us when Solomon did build the temple, and he made that prayer in 2 Chronicles 7:14. So I'm just going to back up a little bit from there. Here is that David is giving Solomon this charge, and he's telling him to be careful, or other versions may say, take heed. I think in King James it talks about seek and continue to obey. But it's giving us a command. and that what we need to do. And it's two areas that I'm going to talk about, and one is that in our giving, and the other area is in our living. And so, let us just pray before we go any further. Oh God, we come before you and we thank you and praise you for your goodness and your love and your mercy. We thank you that you are our God and we are your children. So we're asking that you would give me the words to say and give everyone else the ears to hear. God, keep speaking to all of us because we want to know what you have for us today. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Okay, so God has a personal interest in our success for his kingdom. You know, I've heard people say, if you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? If you knew that there would be no failure and everything would be right, what would you do? And in Chronicles, 1 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 20, one of the charges that David gave Solomon was, be strong and courageous and do the work. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord God, my God, is with you. He will not fail you or forsake you until all the work for the service of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, is finished. So here he is telling Solomon that nothing is going to happen, you're going to get this done, because the Lord takes a personal interest in the success for his kingdom. And so Solomon was chosen to be the one to build the temple, and David is saying, so do it. You've been chosen. You're the man. You're the one that God has picked to build this temple. And it also says in 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 16, and again from the New Living Translation, now may our Lord Jesus himself and God our Father, who loved us and by his grace gave us eternal comfort and a wonderful hope, comfort you and strengthen you in every good thing you do and say. So everything that we're doing for the kingdom, the Lord takes a special interest in it, and he wants us to succeed. And then in Hebrews 13:21, the King James says, it says, may our God make you perfect in every good work to do his will, working in you that which is well-pleasing in his sight, through Jesus Christ, to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen. And as I was reading through those scriptures, it has come to me that God is taking a special interest in me and the things that he's called me to do. Hallelujah. He's already given me the power, the will, everything I need to get it done. Hallelujah. And so when I would hear, what would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail? And I believe I would be doing right what I'm doing right now, because I know that I will never fail, because God has given me victory, not to do my own work, but to do his will. And so I rejoice in what he's given me to do. And so David is still telling Solomon what to do and how to maneuver, because this is a great work that he has been called to do. And it's really funny sometimes that God will call people to do things and they didn't really ask him. Because you never hear that Solomon asked for the ability to build a temple. That was something that David always said. David said, I want to build a temple. And then Solomon would repeat, well, you know, my father David, he wanted to build a temple. But it was given to Solomon to do. But David realized that this is a great responsibility as well as a privilege. And so he started giving Solomon a charge. And I'm going to ask that we would take on some of this. So I'm giving you a charge as David gave Solomon. And what I found out, that when we have a charge, I don't think it's just me, but sometimes when you're told what to do, something may rise up in you.
Yes.
They're telling me to do this because somehow we don't like to be told what to do. But here it is, David not only is going to tell Solomon what to do, but he's going to tell him how to do it, how to build. And he had the whole plan. And he said, I had this whole plan written down because the hand of God was on me. And so I'm going to charge you along with me that when we're told to do something, that we would be humble and accept the calling that God has given us. And God, sometimes I'm really glad that God speaks to us. And I believe he speaks to us. And I'm asking God to help me learn to discern his voice. So that I can hear him speaking to me.
Yes, yes.
But a lot of time, God is speaking to us through other people. And so we need to be careful how we respond when people are telling us what to do. Because as I said, sometimes, something can rise up in us. We don't want to be told what to do. I believe Solomon had a little bit of that rising up in him when, after his father had died, and he had a chance. Should you listen to the elders, or should you listen to your friends? And I believe a little bit of that was rising up in Solomon because he picked the wrong people. He picked his friends. But if he had just understood how God had already put in place people who would tell him what to do, I believe he would have picked differently. So I believe just like Solomon, just like us, that we have to learn to humble ourselves when we're told to do something. That doesn't mean you do what everybody says, but we're talking about leadership especially, and those who have a little bit more wisdom than we have, that we need to learn how to listen to them. And so, High Street, it's my birthday coming up, so I don't want y'all to hit me or anything. But I'm going to say this today. I might not say it next week, but today. When our pastor is telling us to do something, our goal, our focus should be, how can I do what he's asking me to do? And not start coming up with all the reasons why you can't do it. And our pastor, I love him, and we know we have a good pastor, amen. Amen. And so when he is telling us that he wants, maybe I'm the only one heard him say this dream, so I'm going to repeat it, that he wants in the mornings and on Wednesdays, especially on Sunday mornings, that we would have people lined up all on High Street, praying, even on both sides of the street. When our pastor asks us something about praying, our And so I'm going to repeat for us, I'm going to charge High Street. Let's do the work. Because God has called us, because we're the ones still here, we're the ones that come, and so we're the ones that God has charged us to do this. So, I'm still okay, right? So we want to do the work, and that's what David is telling Solomon to do. And in 1 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 13, it says, the king also gave Solomon the instruction concerning the work of the various division of priests and Levites in the temple of the Lord, and he gave the specifications for the items in the temple that were to be used for worship. And verse 14, David gave instructions regarding how much gold and silver should be used to make the items needed for service. And it's a list of things that was needed. David told him how much silver or gold or which should be in the candle stands. And I'm like, wow. And I was wowed by that, but then I really got wowed when I read he even told how much to put in the forks that would be used to get the meat. Even the forks, David told Solomon whether it was silver or gold and how much. And you know, some of us would have been really beside ourselves to say, you're not going to be here, but you're going to tell me how much. And it says that David gave Solomon every detail. And I'm amazed that if we listen, and if we listen to others that are put to help us, that God will have somebody tell us every detail of what we need to know. Isn't that amazing that God loves us so much, and He has a plan for us to succeed. So what we don't know, He has somebody available to tell us. But we need to be humble so we can hear, and then we can take advantage of it. And then I had to tell on myself, as I was writing this book, and I would even say, you all know, I had in my heart, y'all know what? To play the piano.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was in my heart. I mean, and not just one thing. As I was writing the book, I had a chance to go over my life, and it's been a life theme. Do you remember when the department stores used to sell pianos? And that meant that somebody would be there to teach lessons. And so I started going to like Lit Brothers and other places like that because I wanted to learn how to play the piano. And I said that they would be, I guess, tired of hearing me or tired musicians. And I remember they would go to sleep on me. And I would just finally get my little part together and I would say, how is that? And they would be asleep. I'm like, oh man. But I didn't get discouraged. I kept on going, and I had some lady, I took a private lesson, and she really helped me, and I really was doing good, and I had my one recital. I played, I forgot the name of it. It was the theme from Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I could play that. And I had that one recital. It didn't bother me that all the little kids was coming up. Then I would come up and play. I was happy. I played But things happened, and I always had books to mark or things, and so the time was always a problem. But I thought that that was solved because David Griffith became the musician at High Street. And I was here. I'm like, okay. And so I said, will you teach me how to play the piano? And so after school, we would come down and he would be teaching the piano. And he told me one day, I was still worshiping at Truvine, and he had me play this song, and it was wonderful. You know, I can't think of the name of it right now to come to me. And Make Me a Servant. And from one of the piano books, and it was glorious. And I can still remember when I went to Truvine and doing offering, they were used to me doing my little thing. But doing offering, I opened that book up and I played that Make Me a Servant. They never heard me play like that. And everybody was like, oh, that little thing. I'm like, yeah, I learned how to play that. But then something would always stop me. Why did you stop teaching me? I was like, I don't know why you stopped teaching me. But something would always happen. So, and I prayed about it. And then I realized slowly that probably was not where God was going to use me. And then my mother got sick and I had to get rid of my piano so her bed could be downstairs. And, you know, and so I worked through all of that. And even doing this book, I was working through all of that. And finally, it had settled in my spirit that God really did say no. That I was not going to be this great musician. But I thought about it because as David, when David said, I can't build a temple, but then he did start talking about all the good things that God had done for him. He said he picked my tribe, and then he picked my family, and out of my brothers, he picked me to be king. And so the Lord helped me see that I had other gifts and abilities that he was using. And so that I would concentrate on those things. And I can really say that I had not touched the piano in years. I had not touched it. And I was really happy. And then last Sunday, the service was so good. And the Spirit was moving. Sister Jackie, you weren't here. But it was good. It was good. And Pastor was doing communion, and all of a sudden I heard, go play the piano. So what do I do? I wish I had done that. I wish you had been here, Sister Jackie. Maybe you would have said that. But what did I do? First I said, well, Lord, you had told me that's not where you're going to use me. But it fit in what he had told me, that he didn't say I would never play the piano, but he said I'm to give up that dream of being this great musician. Give it up. And so I said, well, I just really got it settled that I'm giving it up. But you're telling me to go play the piano. And so I felt like Peter when he said, but I've toiled all night long. So what did I do? I started looking through the hymn book, trying to find a song that I knew, that I remembered, and nothing came. And then I tried to say, well, what will I have in my memory? And I haven't played it in years. I don't remember what I used to know. And then it hit me, but God is saying, go play piano. And so finally, and you don't know if may have seemed silly to some people. I went to the piano, I sat there, and I think finally I hit one note. And I said, God, I really believe I missed my miracle because I wasn't obedient the first time. And that doesn't mean that he might not give me another chance, he might, but I didn't miss that one. But learning to hear God's voice and to do what he says, I am still like, Lord, help me not only to discern your voice, but then to be obedient. And so David, he told Solomon that he had to do everything exactly the way he said. And then David said, not only have I saved up wood and gold and silver and timber, I've saved up all of this. But then David said, I have given of my own proper good. In 1 Chronicles 29:3, he said, because I have set my affection to the house of my God, I have of my own proper good of gold and silver, which I've given to the house of my God, over and above all that I have prepared for the holy house. And it came to my mind that that's how David lived his life, because earlier in David's life, there had been a plague because David numbered the people. And God had told him to go and build an altar. And David went to build an altar, and the man he was so happy that David came, he said, you don't have to worry about paying me. I will give you everything you need. And David told him, I will not give to the Lord anything that has cost me nothing. And so he paid him. And so now this is what the example he left of David when it was time to give. Not only was he giving from the kingly treasure, but he was also giving from his personal treasure. Because he didn't want it to be that it cost him nothing. And so I'm charging us that we would sacrifice what costs us something. Because that means it's precious to us. I joined a group, and she was telling me that everybody is trying to get something for themselves. And I said, well, that's strange to me, because every group I've been in, I had to give something. And people now want to be given something. We're learning the Christian ways that we give something. We say, give until it hurts, or give out of your needs even. We are to give, and that's what David showed Solomon. And if you want to know even, I guess, a proper way of the giving, because David gave, and then he asked, who is willing to give with me? And who stood up was all the officers and all the leaders of the clans, all those that worked with David, they gave. And then it says the people were happy because David and the people, the officers, gave so much that the people were proud of them. And sometimes, as the head, we have to learn to give, even when it seems like we don't have it. Because God is expecting our pastor he's a very good example about giving. And so he puts the pressure on those of us who are in authority with him, that we should be right there giving. That's what the example that David was leaving for his son Solomon. And then he told him about living. Be determined to live carefully. I have a new Bible verse, and it's again NLT, Ephesians 5:10, and then 15 through 17. And it says, carefully determine what pleases the Lord. And then it goes on, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. So David gave a charge to Solomon about keeping his heart right. And he gave a charge to Solomon telling him, if you seek for God, you'll find him. And he gave this charge to Solomon, and he didn't do it secretly, because he had called everybody, all the officers, everybody was there, and he said it to Solomon, that you are to live pleasing God. Be careful how you live. Be careful what you do. And one thing about having a pastor who's a musician, he knows all the songs, he knows what page it's on in the hymnal, out of which hymnal, he knows all of that. And so he helped us with a song last Sunday that went way back. And it was this. Be careful, little eyes, what you see. Be careful, little eyes, what you see. And you know, I was meditating on that. We ought to be careful what we see, what we hear, and what we do. And it was just good. I tell you, last Sunday was good. It inspired me. It was good. We have to be careful about what we're doing. And as David was telling Solomon, I charge you to seek the Lord, and that you would know the Lord intimately. And the funny thing, I walked in on Sunday school, and they were talking about knowing the Lord, and between a husband and a wife. And a pastor was saying that in the Bible time, when they said no, it meant a lot of things, probably deeper than we use the word no. So Solomon was told, and the NLT puts it like that, get to know your God intimately. Don't know about him, but get to know your God. And so now in the New Testament, I'm charging you with what Ephesians says. Carefully determine what pleases the Lord. Get to know your Lord. Get to know what pleases your Lord. So when things are happening, it may be okay with some people, but if it's not pleasing to the Lord, we have to determine in our heart that we are not going to do it, because our aim is to please our Lord. And then if it's something that it said, don't live like fools. And the Bible doesn't use that word carelessly. Because a fool says in his heart, there is no God. And if you're living like you're in control of your own life, then you're living your life as a fool. If you're living your life life that you have the last say in anything, then you're living your life like a fool. You're not living like somebody who is wise. If you are wise, you will make every opportunity, you will make good every opportunity to bless the Lord and to obey the Lord. Then it says, don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. And so I charge you, in front of everybody here at High Street, I charge you that you will start to live your life as to please the Lord and not to please man. That you would live your life with kingdom living in view. That you would do what God is calling you to do. Because if we all did what we were supposed to do, we would see a lot of things happening. And we need to learn to obey God. And I am just so glad that when God charges us, He also gives us the power. And so I can say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I'm glad that He doesn't throw us away. That when we fall or we miss the calling, He gets us right back up and sends us back out to do what He said to do. And I'm so glad that God cares about whether or not we succeed. And then even in Joshua, it says, be careful, make sure that you are careful to obey all the laws that I've commanded you, and then you will have good success. And don't be afraid. I'm so glad that the Lord, they tell me, I haven't counted myself, but they tell me that there are over 300 times in the Bible where it says, do not fear or don't be afraid. So we can pick one for every day. Because I need to be reminded often, don't be afraid. Because fear can paralyze you. Fear will stop you, hinder you. So He's telling us, don't be afraid. David charged Solomon. It's a lot of work to do, but do it. And don't talk about it. He said over and over again, do the work. And so I am charging High Street Church of God for us to do the work fearlessly, because God has a special interest in our success. Hallelujah. He wants us to make it. You know, I'm glad of that verse that says God is not trying to do us harm. He's not trying to do us harm. He wants us to make it. He wants us to do it. He wants us to have the victory. Amen. And so I'm charging you, just like David made a charge, that you would do what God is telling you to do. And I accept this charge for myself too. Amen. God bless you. Amen. Amen.